Hello. For my food for thought, I chose the reading of Straight Jackets and Springboards for Innovation. Although I completely disagree with the author, I thought it was a very interesting read about. Although the author goes unnamed about his viewpoint that patents slow down the innovation process and of new solutions to solve that decrease. First, he starts off saying that patents are not accessible to everyone, that the capital and the money required to get a patent and then defend the patent is out of the reach of most small innovators, small startups, and that it gives a huge advantage, he calls a David and Goliath advantage, towards the larger corporations. And then he also goes on to discuss that a lot of these patents that companies file are not 100% valid, that a lot of them are made up, a lot of them are fluff. He claims that they're too broad, their ideas are common, they have undefined claims, and that 40% of them should be thrown right out as unsupportable. He uses IBM as his golden example of the perfect innovation system, that it doesn't use patents but instead uses OSS, or open source software, where IBM has used Linux as a platform similar to the social medias or YouTube, where since everyone has free access to it, people readily create free content and use it as the base for their content, adding new innovative things without any price tag, without any additional patents, and so much was able to be created and added by that. His definite negative example would be the Wright brothers and their patent battles for the airplane, and that it heavily slowed the advancement of the airplane and air flight. I completely disagree with the author's viewpoint on a lot of the things he says. Patents being expensive, that's true, they are expensive and it's hard to get into the game, but imagine a world where corporations weren't held back by the patents. Where a corporation could just go in, copy the design, and sell it without being able to be sued, because without a patent there is no legal claim that the small-time inventors can have. The patent, although expensive, is a shield that defends the little guys. Using IBM as an example to compare to biotech isn't fair. IBM is computer science. The only cost that you need to do computer science innovation is a person, a laptop, which most people these days have in their house, it's a household item, and a table to put it on. A kitchen table, a table in the basement, in the garage, whereas with biotechnology and innovation is expensive. Although the author claims that you can do it in your garage, the truth is you really can't. Most biotech is reserved for multi-million-dollar companies or state-owned universities and government-owned research groups that are multi-million dollars of investment in facilities and in machines, has several PhDs who had to spend a decade getting their knowledge and qualifications. On the average, it takes a decade for a breakthrough in biotech research, whereas the creation of a new copyright or patent for a mobile game is under 3 months. So comparing IBM and biotech is unfair. Biotech has much more risk, and so therefore needs much more protection for their rewards. Use, oddly enough, the Wright brothers as an example of a lack of innovation or slow innovation, which is puzzling at all. The Wright brothers created a brand new industry, a brand new thing. It wasn't just like inventing a new farming tool. Farming had existed for millennia. It wasn't a new land vehicle or a new ocean traveling vessel. Those both had existed millennially. Airplanes were brand spanking new. The idea of an airplane industry didn't exist. That market wasn't there. So for them to say that the patent battle slowed innovation, no. The innovation was exponentially fast. Within 60 years of the Wright brothers' flight, man landed on the moon. That is advancement. They say that the innovation was slow and had to be forcibly sped up by the government for entry into World War I. And it's like, most of the technology used in World War I was based on millennial-old designs, with decades of advancements. You think of men charging into battle on horses with their sabers drawn, men with bayonets. Those aren't new technologies. The machine gun is just an advancement of an arquebus that had existed since the 14th century. Most of the technology used in World War I was vastly old, and the airplane was a brand new idea. They didn't even, at the beginning of the war, they didn't know the strategy of how to use the airplanes, and so to advance the technology when they don't even know its place in the war theaters, it advanced at the proper speed. The patent protected the Wright brothers for a certain time and increased the other airplane manufacturers and their ability to create advancements on that base design. Without those, the Wright brothers' idea would have been stolen and no more innovation would have happened. It might seem slow using a safety harness to climb a mountain, but without the safety harness, if you slip and fall, you go all the way back down to the bottom. The safety harness keeps you at least at the level of which you climbed up to. The authors use the patent pool as an example of the failure of the patent process, but the patent pool is an adaptation, a flexibility of the patent pool, the patent process. The patent pool exists in the American patent legal system, so it is a part, not a flaw. Patent pools make sense for inventions that have vastly huge amount of copyrights and patents on them. A car, thousands of different inventions in the car. The radio is its own invention, the speaker is its own invention, the engine, the transmission, the coolant system, the radiator. Even what type of oil is in it is patented. The blend of gas is patented. How to make the metal, how to forge it, how to attach it to the car, the exact placement of the bolts. So many inventions go into making a car, you have to have the patent pool. And here's the thing, is the American system figured that out. They learned that with just single patents wouldn't be able to work. So for him to say the patent system doesn't work when it's working, the average consumer has a car, the average consumer has a computer, the average consumer has a cell phone. And those are because of the patent process. The patent process is a patent pool. And one final thing, the author says that the idea that an inventor can sell his patent goes against the ideas of what the founding fathers had written in the Constitution. Now, that's almost always a ethical fallacies to say that, oh, this is what the founding fathers would do. So many political arguments fall on that same failure. And here's the thing is, the founding fathers believed you could sell animals, believed you could sell property, believed you could sell items, believed you could sell trade routes. They believed you could sell people. They all believed in slavery, or at least in the existence of slavery, if not, they might not have believed in the ethical side of slavery. And now, less of the American side, more the British side, but Americans were still British cultured, is in Britain, you could sell your wife when you wanted to have a divorce, because divorce wasn't legal in the time period, and so they just sold their wife to whatever lover she wanted, and so the patent's 100% meant to be sold. And it doesn't matter if it's the investors, or the inventor's investment, or the purchaser's investment. Everyone down the chain has to be successful, otherwise the process is going to fall apart. If the second party is unsuccessful in turning a profit, then it's only going to be a first party, and innovation will be squashed or quashed. All in all, although this was an interesting read, patents protect inventions. America is the #1 innovative country in the world, and the next two, the Netherlands and the UK, have similar cultures and very similar legal processes. In fact, their patent offices predate the American Patent Office. And that's why they're advanced in innovations. When you protect people's livelihood, they're more willing to work. When you protect people's invention, they're more willing to go back and invent another and more. And other people will follow their examples. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope using YouTube as the platform, because it is very similar to the shared operating systems of IBM that will be taken into consideration.